I lied to myself a lot when I was playing hockey. And looking back, it may sound a little harsh to say, but I really did. I held myself back. And it's easy to look back in hindsight and, say I should have known this, I should have done that. And I'm still going to do it because I think it'll help a lot of players to understand the mistakes I made and the mistakes I think a lot of players can avoid. And so the biggest mistake that I see that other players make and that I for sure made was that I didn't want to be called out on my bullshit. I didn't want to have people tell me that, I was lacking in certain areas. And if they did, I would just question them because it got to my confidence. I would get mad if someone said something like that to me. If my parents said that to me, I would say, well, I don't agree. That's not what my online coach says. That's not what this person says. But in reality, I didn't really want to listen to the people who knew what I needed to hear. And my dad was the one who, called me out on a lot of this stuff as I was younger. But as I started to get older, I think he realized that if he kept pushing and kept, poking and prodding at me, we probably wouldn't have the greatest relationship. So I think he chose to not poke and prod. I think he chose to maintain a relationship and allowed me to make my own decisions. And so the thing that I regret looking back is that I should have had somebody that would call me out on my bullshit. And I think for a lot of players, they don't want to listen to their parents tell them that. They don't want to hear their mom or their dad call them out and say, hey, like, you're not working on your cardio, you're not working on your speed, your stick handling's not that good, you definitely could work on your skating ability. Like, I had a lot of that stuff. Like, the biggest thing is when I stopped playing soccer, I lost my cardio, I lost my speed, and I just acted like it wasn't a big deal. And I would just get mad at people anytime that they questioned me. I would get mad if someone said, hey, like, your cardio is not very good, or, you're not really in the top echelon of speed in the league, even though when I was younger, that was a big separator for me. I was also a really good skater, and then I became a pretty good skater, but I lost a lot of the things that made me great, a lot of the things that truly separated me. And I think for a lot of players, if they start to drift or they're not on the right path, they often don't get told what's really missing by someone that they want to listen to or respect. And so if you're a player listening to this, the technique I want to talk to you about today is something that I wish I had have understood a lot deeper. And it's something called the Solomon paradox. And so the Solomon paradox, basically, it comes from an old king who was really good at giving advice, but he was really bad at giving himself advice. So he could help others, but he didn't see his own faults and mistakes. And so we all deal with this. We all know how to give other people who are in a similar position to us advice, but we have a very hard time giving ourselves advice. And so if you don't know what advice to give yourself, this is a way to get around that. I'm going to show you a technique to really break through that, and it is really, really powerful once you get it. So I call this the no bullshit method. And essentially what this is you are going to watch yourself and you are going to reflect on your game as if it were another person. And you're going to take this very, very seriously, because when you do, you realize that you can give amazing advice. You realize that you are lying to yourself in some way right now, but it's very, very hard to address it. And when you're in a season and you're in the flow of it and you're trying to keep up with all the different stresses and things going on, it's hard to call yourself out. That's why when I work with players, they start to realize all their blind spots. But I want to help you to see your own blind spots, to be able to coach yourself. And so here's how the technique works. I'll break it down. So number one, I just want you to take 5-ish minutes, just do some breathing, just get yourself into a more calm state, just lower your brain waves. Now I want you to watch one of your games, but when you watch it, what I want you to do is watch from the perspective as if it was someone else. So literally imagine you don't know who this player is and you're just watching them for the first time. Forget about your biases, forget about the things that you think you know about yourself. Just watch and observe what you see. Now imagine that you're an expert coach. Imagine you knew everything that a player needed to do to get better and get to the next level. Now, when you look at that player you're watching, in brackets, you, what do you see? What do you see? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with that person. Give them the advice that they need to hear in this moment. Ask, what does that person need to do to work on their strengths, to work on their weaknesses? What is the thing that's missing for them? If you could just wave a magic wand and fix something about their game, what would it be? If you do those three things, ask the strengths, ask their weaknesses, and ask the magic wand question of what one thing would be the best thing to fix right now that would change their game, that is going to change your whole perspective. Now, I want you to close your eyes after this, right? So you've done this, you've asked yourself those questions. Now close your eyes. You can even take a 10-minute, 20-minute nap. And then what I want you to do is come back to this. And now look again at your game. Watch a period. And now just allow it to just kind of brew. Because when you meditate, or when you sleep, or you meditate, or you take some space from something, it's going to give your brain a chance to process and digest. So see what comes up. Now, when you see what comes up, what you're going to do is now open your eyes after 10 minutes, 10, 20 minutes of napping or meditating. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what are the exact specific skills that this person needs to fix, that they need to work on, right? So you ask yourself strengths and weaknesses, and then in terms of like what that one thing is. Now just ask yourself, what are those specific skills? So not just skating, stick handling, shooting, but instead it could be like one-timers. Is it breakaway speed? Is it start speed? Is it your hands in tight? Is it taking the puck to the net? Is it cutbacks? Is it zone entries? Is it puck possession? Is it battling? But get real and get very honest with that player. And then write up a report, like you were going to give them a report of here's what you need to fix. And then give that report to yourself. And when you have that report in front of you, take that and use the training tracker that we have in our free mental masterclass and go and use it. It's in the confidence section, or it's actually in the aligning your training section. Go and use that. And use that tracker to actually plan out your training. Use it to actually organize and actually put a system in place. Because once you get real with yourself and then you put a system in place, you become honest and you've broken through that Solomon paradox. So now, this is where I come into play when I work with players, is that what we do is, and let me be clear, this is basically like a sales pitch, so I'm just going to explain it to you. What we do is we come in and we attack the weaknesses in your game by first making sure your mental game is dialed in, you have the confidence, and then we help you unlock and understand your development. So understand what skills you need to use and when, and how to actually develop it, and then keep you accountable to that. So you don't have to be called out by your parents. You don't have to wait to call yourself out, which you can use this technique to do it. But instead, you can just have us help you and walk you through and be confident that you have somebody who's helped hundreds of players do this. Because when you get real with yourself and you also have somebody else who's real with you and calls you out, what you see is that you have more fun when you play hockey. You start to play better. You play with more confidence on and off the ice, right? You're just more confident in life. You have more focus. You have more mental clarity. You have just less stress. You improve your lifestyle and you actually look forward to getting up. You improve your organization skills. You improve your on-ice performance in all ways, right? Because you start to create offense and play well defensively. That's what the Next Level Academy is about, and that's what the group of players are who are in there. That's what they're all doing, is working on finding the next level and calling each other out when stuff is not working, asking questions and being honest. And staying accountable to this system for multiple years is what is going to create that separation for you. Because if you can think in multiple years as opposed to multiple days, you're going to find yourself way ahead of everyone by the end of your minor hockey or junior hockey or college or pro career, because you stuck with it and kept making iterations while everybody else was just lying to themselves like I did. So I hope that helps. It's just more of a general layout of some mistakes I made in the system or systematic approach using the no bullshit method to actually break through and avoid that Solomon paradox and figure out how to actually call yourself out on what you need to hear. So I hope that helps, and I will see you guys in the next video, and we'll talk about continuing to just keep developing your game. But I hope you have a great day, great week, and I'll see you guys at the next level.